The Ceremonial Cleansing of a Child. An article by Dipali Hembram. Long-established customs, rituals and ceremonies play a pivotal role in the lives of Santhal people. These events not only keep us attached with our roots, but also keeps the bonding within our community strong. Most of these rituals are held to acquire the blessings of benevolent spirits, and to keep away from evil ones. Being part of this tribal community, I have closely observed those rituals. These rituals are not only for the well-being of a family but for the whole village. Generally, in all Santhal ceremonies, no one is just an audience, everyone has some active role in it, from children to elders, and this keeps the bonds of the community strong. In this article, I am going to talk about the ceremonial cleansing or purification of the village after childbirth. Importance of ceremonial cleansing, Nimdokmandi. After a child is born, the Santhal family as well as the village becomes impure. They believe that the whole village has been exposed to the danger of powerlessness. So before the purification ritual, the family cannot perform any sacrifice or other ceremony. Nobody is allowed to eat or drink with the family. In case the family does not perform this ceremony, then the child cannot get married and cannot be buried after death. This cleansing ritual has three main parts: purification of the house and the village from the contamination caused by birth, naming the child and formally accepting the child into the family, introducing the child to the Santhal tribe and its clan. The date and time for ceremonial cleansing. The ritual is generally performed 5 days after the birth of a boy and 3 days after the birth of a girl. Most of the Santhals living in the villages are marginalized farmers. Everyone cannot bear the expenses of the ceremony. As I stated before, all these rituals are essential, and if somebody skips it, there might be consequences in later part of life because these rituals endure bonds between villagers. If a family cannot afford the event right after the birth, then the society allows a bit of flexibility to the family. They are not pressurized to undertake extra expenses when they cannot afford it. So in that case, only the first part of purification of the village is done by performing a small ritual with the village priest and the other position holders of the village. After that, the family plans a day to complete the remaining process of the ceremony. It may be in 21 days after the birth, or it may extend even years, whenever the family wishes. If a family plans to have more children, then to avoid extra expenses, they can perform the purification ritual together for their children, followed by the naming and introduction part. The cleansing ceremony. Purification of the house and the village. On the day of the main event, the relatives and villagers gather together in the courtyard of the newborn baby's house. The family of the newborn hires a barber for the whole day to shave the head of men. The shaving starts with the village priest, next field priest, headman, deputy headman, then the menfolk of the village, children. Whoever wants to shave their head, shave one after another. In the end, the father of the newborn shaves his head. Now, the barber calls for the newborn baby. Midwife brings the child in her arms along with 2 empty cups made of sal leaves. The barber cuts a chunk of hair of the baby carefully and puts it into 1 leaf cup and pours oil in another, then gives it back to the midwife. She mixes raw turmeric paste with the oil and takes a little bit from that mixture to rub on the head of the newborn child. The father, along with men of the village, goes to the nearby pond for a bath. Meanwhile, midwife binds 2 cotton threads on the arrow which she used to cut the umbilical cord of the child. In olden days, every Santhal family owned bows and arrows for hunting. Today, those weapons are no longer part of daily life. But some weapons like bows and arrows, swords, etc. are part of Santhali ceremonies. So, Manji, the head of a Santhal village, reserves those weapons to be used in various rituals. When menfolk return, the women of the village take the child along with the mother for a bath. After reaching the place, the midwife ties the child's hair with 1 thread and throws it into the water, then washes the arrow with water. She makes 5 marks with vermilion, cinder, invoking Maranguru, and the ancestral spirit of the child asking for a blessing. After that, she colors the other thread with turmeric oil, and hands over the cup to the other women. They clean up themselves and apply the turmeric on their body. After returning home, the mother sits on the porch with the baby in her arms. Midwife ties the soaked thread around the child's waist as a loin string. The midwife kneads cow dung with water and scatters that cow dung water around mother. Then she put her child into bed where the child was born, or where it lied first just after coming from the hospital. With this the village is purified. The naming of the child. Giving a name implies that the child is formally accepted to the father's clan, and is provided protection by the spirits of the father's ancestors. In other societies, a child is known by his or her parents' name. But in the Santhal culture, a child is introduced by their grandparents' names. There is a unique rule to carry the family name in the Santhali family. A Santhal child has two names, inner name and outer name. Inner name. For a boy, the inner name of a child in the Santhal tribe is the ancestral name of his family. Only his villagers sometimes call the boy by his inner name. They do not use this name for general purposes. Rule of giving the inner name is as following. The first child gets the name of the paternal grandfather. The second child gets the name of the maternal grandfather. The third child gets the name of the elder brother of his paternal grandfather. The fourth child gets the name of the elder brother of his maternal grandfather. And so on. If the father or mother does not have any siblings, then they decide which relative's name the boy will carry, and they name him after him. The girl receives the name of the female counterpart similar as above. Outer name. The other name of a Santhal child is the name they will use for all general purposes. After deciding the name, the parents tell that to the midwife. Introduction of the child to the tribe. Now it's time to introduce the child to everyone in their tribe. Godet calls every family of the village by going to their house one by one, saying it's time for Nimdokmandi. Everyone gathers around the courtyard. The midwife mixes rice flour with water in 3-leaf cups. She sprinkles 1 cup rice flour mixture on 4 legs of the bed. Then sprinkles the 2nd cup of mixture on the village priest, field priest, headman, deputy, and other position holders of the village and their wives one by one. Then the 3rd cup rice flour mixture is sprinkled on everyone gathered around in the courtyard. While sprinkling the rice flour water mixture, she utters the child's name and tells everybody, please call him this name while hunting in case of a boy, and call her this name while chasing for a girl. Then they all eat neem dokmandi, a porridge made of boiled rice with neem leaves together. Conclusion. The Santhal tribe had no written document of their rituals for a very long time. They followed the instructions their ancestors taught them, and they passed those instructions to later generations. As a result, through years of practice, you will see a slight difference in the ritual in different villages. And that sometimes causes a conflict of opinion between two villages. That's all for today. If there is an additional step of this ritual in your village, let me know in the comments section below. And feel free to share this article with everybody. It's our responsibility to preserve our tribal legacy by gaining knowledge about it.